Tommy Stokke here with Jack Magruder in Nashville, Tennessee at the winter meetings, day 3. After a slow day 1, I don't think we can complain too much about not much action happening on day 2. Let's start with the Diamondbacks, who apparently never sleep. They went out and traded for Shelby Miller, sending back Dansby Swanson, Ender Inciarte, and Aaron Blair. A big package. Is it worth it?
Yeah, gigantic package, and I think each team has separate agendas, right? Once you sign Zach Greinke, you're playing for today. You're playing for right now. So you want to add to that mix to take you to the next level. Shelby Miller as a number 2 or number 3 starter will do that for the D-backs. Atlanta, obviously rebuilding, starting over with John Hart down there. They're going to get 2 or 3 players they can build around for 4 or 5 years. They're all under control. Dansby Swanson is an Atlanta kid. You know, he grew up loving the Braves. He's got a great tool set. He is part of that rebuilding process. He's part of the future. The D-backs understandably love the guy, but they don't want to wait 2.5 years or 3 years for him to be there. Aaron Blair is kind of in the same boat. He's major league ready, most scouts think, but he just doesn't fit with the D-backs if you've got a guy like Shelby Miller. So, and the outfield depth with Tomas, with Socrates Brito, with Peter O'Brien, why not include an outfielder in the package if that's what it takes? They weren't going to trade A.J. Pollock. They made that pretty clear. Atlanta tried hard. They couldn't get him. The best deal Atlanta could do was this. The best thing the D-backs could do was this, and I think it helps both teams in the long run.
Yeah, one of the things that going for it now, in addition to Greinke, is Paul Goldschmidt. He's got 3 years left on his extension. He's going to have a huge deal coming his way then, so they have to get the most out of these 3 years. As they spend all this money, is there a concern, has this been brought up yet, about are they going to have money for Goldschmidt in 3 years, because that's going to be a ton as well?
Well, I'm sure they budgeted it, and I'm sure they know they want to keep Paul there for lifetime. A.J. Pollock also has a 3-year window here. He's got 3 years of arbitration eligibility. You know, you got the stars, you play to win now. And I understand that, Aaron Hill's money will go away. Some of the money will go away. At the same time, their new TV deal, which is a $1.5 billion deal over 20 years, is the local TV deal. They keep all that money. They don't have to share that with Major League Baseball. That's what makes Major League Baseball different from all other professional sports. What you make on your local market is all yours. And with that money, they'll be able to afford Paul, and I'm sure Paul will not want to go away. You know, he loves it here, and he's a one-team guy. So they'll have the cash. I mean, it's not I think it's a pretty bold stroke to get back into the top of the division, and it looks like that's where they are to me.
Yeah, for the Braves, obviously a big move, a big haul. A lot of people talking about what they turned Jason Hayward into, 1 year of Jason Hayward, into Tyrell Jenkins, into a strong year of Shelby Miller, and now into these guys. You've got the replacement for Andrelton Simmons now in Swanson. You've got the starting pitching bullets, if you want, to load up, and not everyone is going to work, but they've got enough that hopefully they can find 5 that do work, 6 or 7 that work, and trade for other pieces down the road. So, for Braves fans that are upset at another player going, it'll be a lot better in 2017-18 when, as I believe, the Braves front office said yesterday, hey, we're looking to build that winner that can go to all these playoff games, and like we've done before. So it's going to get worse before it gets better. But the good news for Braves fans is it's worked for the Cubs. It's worked for the Astros. This isn't something that they're going out on a limb doing and don't know what's going to happen. So that's good for them. With the Diamondbacks, the comparison that they're going to get and that they are getting is they are this year's San Diego Padres. Why is that not true?
Well, because these teams are pretty much totally different entering these big moves. The Padres didn't have near the talent base on hand with Goldschmidt, with Pollock, with David Peralta, with all the young infielders, Nick Ahmed. The Padres' position players were not that good. I mean, it was a little stretched to believe what they did last year, trying to get both Uptons, Kimbrel, James Shields, trying to patch that into a winning team around parts that were nowhere near as good as what the Diamondbacks have right now. The Diamondbacks, obviously you can look at them and say they have a plan. Now, it's an expensive plan, and it doesn't have to work, but it seems like it's a pretty smart thing to do. The Padres looked like they were just going piecemeal here, there, throw this at the fan and let's hope, or throw it at the wall and hope it sticks. And as we saw, it didn't stick very well.
Yeah, definitely something to look forward to as we enter next year. The other big thing that happened was the signing of Ben Zobrist. We reported on Monday that the Cubs were still a big player, but they had to move Starlin Castro first. The trade to the Yankees almost happened at the trade deadline last year, almost happened earlier this offseason. It did happen, and that allowed the Cubs to go out and sign Ben Zobrist to a 4-year, $56 million deal. At this point for the Cubs, I think it comes down to complementary pieces. Keith Law, ESPN.com, said that Ben Zobrist might not be the more talented player than a Starlin Castro, but he is certainly a better fit. I believe that was Keith Law. And that's what they're going for right now. You saw what they did with the Mets. The high contact rate that Zobrist brings, he can hit leadoff, and that's something that the Cubs needed entering this offseason, as they don't seem to be bringing back Dexter Fowler. So he fits a lot of needs. He's versatile, and with him and John Lackey, the Cubs seem to be going for the complementary pieces, but they're certainly still good. So now we look at the outfielder market. The starting pitching is going to slow down a little bit, I think, at least for today. I think the focus will be on the outfielders. The first domino has to fall there as you look to maybe where the secondary pieces, Gerardo Parra, where he signs or what teams are interested in him, can say a lot about the teams going for the big guys. But, where do you see the big guys going? And with your experience here at the winter meetings, is this something that teams are going to say, hey, we have to do this today and get something really going?
Well, it could happen. It could happen. It depends on Zobrist falling helps a little bit because the Giants, I think, were interested, obviously, in him. The Mets were interested in him. Now what's their fallback position? Now, I think the Mets looked at him more as an infielder. The Giants were looking at him more as an outfielder. The Giants especially now have to decide, do we go big with Cespedes or Jason Hayward? Do we work around and go for a Parra, who's certainly a good player, not a expensive superstar? They could fit him into that budget. These things have such a life of their own. You just never know what's going to happen. I would have thought the outfielders would have gone right now, but maybe they're the group that's going to stay late, and somebody will pick up a bargain. Maybe they figured, we've gone this long without signing these guys. Let's see what else is out there. Let's let this play out. Pick up a Parra, who's certainly a valuable piece. Like I say, he's not a star, but he could play 140 games in left field or right field, hit 280 and steal 20 bases and hit 15 home runs. That's the kind of guy you can build with, certainly a good clubhouse guy. So, I guess we'll see what happens in the market. We'll see if Hayward's the first guy to go. That'll set the market. If not, maybe these other guys get plugged in and we keep on plugging through the Christmas season, which happens sometimes.
One more day to go. Technically, we have the Rule 5 draft on Thursday. Stay tuned to FanRag Sports and today's Knuckleball.com. We'll try to top yesterday. For Jack Magruder, I'm Tommy Stokke.